Wow. What? Let's count the hours. I don't want to count the hours. Just Saturday night to Sunday night to Monday night to Tuesday night. Here we are on Wednesday on the WrestleChat Podcast, and it has consumed not only wrestling fans and probably every podcast that has anything to do with wrestling coming out, but it's even consumed things that are that are not wrestling related. I mean, it's the core fabric of America that John Cena is a face, except now he's not. In fact, I was talking to a buddy of mine just today, and I said, hey, just want to give you a heads up. We now live in a world where John Cena is a heel. The first question he said, what's a heel? I said, that's a bad guy. He goes, that's what you call him in wrestling? He's like, yeah, heel and face. He's like, okay, face is a good guy. Like, yeah. And he goes, who decides that? Like,
don't ask smart questions.
we're trying to find out, and by God, we're gonna take care of them real quick, because John Cena is now a heel, and I don't know that there's many people happy about that. I mean, yeah, storyline not happy about it. Actually, inside, I think it's really freaking cool, but yeah, it's kind of like we just showed our texts from Saturday during Elimination Chamber. People would see how our heart felt. You know, I went back and rewatched what happened again, because I know that as I'm texting you and, you know, punching my wife's shoulder, oh my God, are you seeing this? You know I missed things, and so I was like, I'm glad I did, and I'm glad it's there to go watch. But what do you think about the difference between Saturday to here we are on Wednesday, and live in a different world now? It's like we went into a different dimension.
It's crazy. I mean, I have so many thoughts. First of all, the whole world is talking about it.
Everybody.
Which is crazy, even to the point that I'm a little bit of an introvert. I don't normally I don't like talking to people in public. I don't like talking to people I don't know. But I was out at a restaurant the other night, and I was sitting at the bar eating some food, and the person tending the bar and a guy sitting on the end was like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be so cool. He's going on this run. And when I heard run, my ears automatically perked up, because that's
wrestling term.
It's normally a wrestling term. Yeah. And so I'm listening and I'm waiting for confirmation, because I feel it. There's like this aura thing. And finally goes, yeah, it's crazy that John Cena is a bad guy now. And I was like, bro.
Keyword.
So we chatted it up for a minute. Actually shared our QR code with him. Nice. To the show. So, you know, street marketing while I'm at it. But the whole world's talking about it, even to the extent that I think I saw some type of ad or whatever that John Cena was trending in like 96 countries or something random like that, like just like unprecedented. Mm-hmm. And speaking about it again, if I read it correctly, the YouTube video from WWE of that segment has broken every previously standing record that WWE has on YouTube. Yeah. So now let me get to the whole thing. Am I jumping ahead if we're talking about the whole thing? The segment at large?
Yeah, well, we do have, there's so much to talk about. First, I want to say, you said it was trending in 96 countries or whatever. That's every country that John Cena has done a Make-A-Wish in. So that's why he's trending in those companies. No, I don't know if he did. I'm just joking.
That would make sense.
Let's do this. Let's start here. Let's start with his win first. He won the Elimination Chamber. Mm-hmm. Did anything about that win at the Elimination Chamber feel off for you? Because typically, I mean, John Cena doesn't take advantage of a situation as a good guy, right?
Well, I noticed it because he did capitalize on it. But it was interesting because, and kudos to John for just being just amazing at what he does. Because if you notice, I saw this on social media. If you notice, when he goes to apply the submission to CM Punk right after he capitalized on that moment, he actually screams, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, he did, didn't he? That's right.
And so you see this like okay, he took advantage of it, but he's saying sorry. It's like, well, it is the Elimination Chamber. How am I supposed to feel as the fan? Is it fair?
Right.
You know, all's fair in love and war type thing. But it's John Cena and he's supposed to be squeaky clean. So I caught it, but it seemed to fit. Maybe it would be a something down the line story wise. Maybe it would be to set something up for Punk and John later in the year, but I didn't think a whole lot about it.
And I don't feel that it was really anything. And I'm glad you brought that up too, that he said, I'm sorry. That also follows him saying, I missed you and I missed you too, with he and Punk. It felt like that really John kept to the babyface character, the normal John Cena that we've always come to know and love or hate throughout the last, 17, 18 years. Of being a good guy in WWE. I feel that he stuck to it. I think it's The Rock who left us more clues than anyone else. And he's the floater. He's the back and forth. He's talking about it like it's a movie in the press like he went to, he was filming a movie when he talks about it in the press conference. Everybody on set loved what we were doing. It was great. That, from last week that bothers me. And it sounds like it has bothered a lot of people too. Now, I know there are a ton of places that are talking about the turn of John Cena, what The Rock is and what those two are doing together. And we're going to try to give you at least some of it and our own takes of it as well. Because yes, like you said, it's being talked about absolutely everywhere. So congratulations to, at that point, John Cena winning the Elimination Chamber. Man, this is going to be a fun babyface match at WrestleMania, because you're going to have the one that, if you're not a big Ric Flair fan, or even if you are, but you want to see John Cena break the record, you're cheering on John Cena at WrestleMania, even though he's going up against Cody Rhodes. And then Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes. I mean, a lot of people have talked about what it'll be like when he turns heel, if he does, and when that happens. But everything WWE is doing right now is they are doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down on this guy being the baby face for the foreseeable and unforeseeable future. From the parts, like maybe even when our kids have kids and are, they're off to college or something, they are making this guy the biggest baby face in the entire world, the whole world, stacked against Cody Rhodes. Was The Rock hinting, though, all along? I got a couple of videos, and if you follow us on TikTok or on Instagram, I've talked about this a little bit, because I feel that there are a lot of people just kind of going, well, I saw a picture of him holding up a 2. He did everything he did before. He counted 1, 2, and then slashed his throat. Well, that's not what he did. Let's go back to actually Bad Blood. Here's a Bad Blood video. This is what we got from him. You see him count 1, 2, and then give the John Cena looking 3. Of course, that was it right there. And then you'll see him slash his throat with 2 fingers. So, I mean, is that just how The Rock, does the throat slash? I mean, I think a lot, this is associated with whom? Undertaker. So thank you. So rather than doing this, if you're not watching us on YouTube, taking my thumb, raking it across my throat, that's Undertaker's, you're going on the last ride, right? So maybe with The Rock, it's 2 fingers. I'm going to, cut your jugular. So let's go to what happened at Elimination Chamber. Check this out. You're going to see John Cena be all happy and sappy and give him a hug, and then, face turned in more ways than one. The Rock still slashes his throat with 2 fingers. He doesn't count again. And that's where I think a lot of people he wasn't counting to 2 people. That's why I think a lot of if we're going to read into details, let's make sure the details are correct. That's the only thing I care about. If we're going to talk about, look at these place where he foreshadowed, just make sure it's correct with what you're talking about. He didn't count. You noticed on that one, he did not count. He just did the 2-finger throat slash again. It just happened to end with 2 fingers in the air, and that's the still photo that everybody's passing around saying, he counted to 2 this time. Your thoughts on some of that now that I've rambled on, Michael?
I think none of it is connected.
Okay.
At all.
Okay.
I think in this new era, they know that they can bring Rock in to boost ratings. And I think the former was really just a way to get him on the show, get FaceTime, get a bump in ratings. And then obviously this situation was intentional. To be honest with you, I don't even think the John Cena looking 3 it was really even connected. I just think it was all just, they have a plan. We know they've been planning this for a long time. But I don't think it was that interconnected. I think as cool as it is that the Wyatt 6 came back, it made everybody have a magnifying glass,
All the little details.
The production truck is facing north. That means that, know.
Well, and I'll tell you, it may shock you on this part. I think the exact same way. I don't think that any of that was connected in any way whatsoever. Yeah. I do, like you, I think that there was a plan. I do think that they did leave an Easter egg with the beat down outside and John Cena looking over. So if and that's only if they had planned that far. If they planned that far, I think they did that production truck on purpose. If you remember the beat down outside in the rain, where Rock beats up Cody after, and that's how Raw ends or whatever. And then they show online that he continued the beat down later and was cussing and all this other stuff. If you notice in one of the shots, one of the production truck has John Cena overlooking everything. If they knew then they were going to make John Cena, and this was the plan, make him a heel, and this was the plan, I think that could be an Easter egg, and I think that might be the only one. Yeah. I think the most disturbing part wasn't though John Cena turning. I think it was actually this right here. This is Travis Scott. Whack. Whack. I think that right there is what actually gave Cody the black eye. And if you are a Dave Meltzer fan, also busted his eardrum. I haven't heard any report that he's busted his eardrum, but I could see it happening right there. If you watched that clip, what was your immediate thought seeing that?
Watching it live in the moment, I kind of went,
ooh,
that was out of place.
Yeah.
Because not only did it look like a potato, but it sounded like a potato.
You could hear it, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Poor Cody. And I don't know. You can't expect, I know there's maybe some rumors of Travis Scott doing some wrestling things or whatever, but you can't expect a musical artist to understand the concept of the dance of wrestling, if you will. And so maybe they just didn't think to have that conversation of like, hey, don't punch anybody. Maybe it's just assumed. And this was like the first time in 80 years of WWE that somebody came here and was like, oh, I'm going to hit somebody. And then like potatoes them. I don't know.
There is not a better time than a guy laying at your feet bloodied. That if you're, you know what, I'm never going to get this again. If he beats the living crap out of me, at least I get this shot in.
Maybe.
Did he have that much foresight to think something like that?
I don't think so, because you'd have to think they were all standing in gorilla talking about the segment.
You would think.
So I'm sure they were all being friendly, but I can't imagine Travis Scott being like, I'm going to punch this guy in the face.
Okay, so I also do a podcast with Ross and Marshall Von Erich. It comes out tomorrow, comes out on Thursday. I asked them about this segment. I'm like, hey, I hear I'm talking to two guys that are working. Why am I speculating? I was asked these guys, have they ever done anything like this, and what would they think about it? So here's what they had to say. But before he does, Travis Scott, Cody has his head turned to the side. Now, mind you, he's been punched in the face with a Rolex. He's been hit in the head and starts bleeding from getting hit with a title belt. But then Travis Scott takes it upon himself to open palm from back here. You can see that they see it there. Back here, smack Cody in the face. And you see, Cody wasn't expecting it. And turns his head in. And afterwards, you see he'll have a black eye the next time he's on TV. I mean, he was like he hit him in the eyeball.
Like I didn't even see this part, but I guarantee they told him to just hit him. He said, hit me as hard as you can. I guarantee.
If they had a conversation about this, he believes that he would have said, Just hit me as hard as you can. Okay. That episode comes out tomorrow, the Claw Pod. You should check it out. We actually talk about lesser known feuds. It's a fun conversation. You can check that out. It's one of the channels that we love here on this if you're watching on YouTube. However, after we recorded that, I got a text from Marshall. Okay, I actually watched that Travis Scott slap. The first time I saw it was kind of overlooked. But after watching it again, that crap made me so mad. That was so unnecessary. And if he's not part of the angle now, he should be, because that dude deserves to get slapped. Change of heart from the Von Erichs after seeing, probably they saw the shot that I just showed you here on this podcast. He probably saw that one after we recorded, because the first one you saw and you noticed, and it was loud enough. And I saw him hit him, but I thought it was bad, but I didn't think it was that bad where Cody like grimaces and turns his head like, please stop hitting me.
Yeah, because I think on the WWE feed it was a little bit more behind Cody, right?
A little more behind Travis, where Cody's head. It was on the opposite side of Cody. Yes, hard camera side. Yeah. But man, listen, if I know The Rock talked about it in the press conference, he said that Travis wanted to get his hands bloody, is what he referenced, and he said, if you're going to do something, make it count. I don't know if that's just an afterwards covering, or if I'll just say this. I hope he is a part of this angle now, because I would love like a good 3-minute Cody and Travis Scott in the ring together. I'm going to show you a working punch first, and then I'm going to show you what a non-working punch, a stiff shoot punch is, and it's going to be a lot like yours. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
It's going to be good.
As a fan, I think that he deserves that too. I'm right there. And see, Marshall works. He's in the business, and he's agreeing with us. Yeah, that's something like that should happen. Thoughts on where you see this going in the future? Of course, we've got WrestleMania that will be with John Cena and Cody Rhodes. But where do all the other people fit in? And is there anybody coming to help? Because you notice nobody came to help Cody.
Right. To be honest, I'm kind of bewildered. Like, Papa Triple H must read, the IWC on X, because I think we made him mad. Not we as in I was a part of it, but there's a large section of the internet like, this is the most boring WrestleMania ever. And so one of two things happened, because none of us were smarter than Triple H. So either one, he knew people were going to complain about that, so he intentionally set all this up to fall into place a month beforehand.
Yes.
Or with the natural evolution of things, he went, hey, watch this, and did this to the WrestleMania card.
Just shook it out. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the only person that came to help was Michael Cole.
Right.
That's it.
But where it goes and where all of these other people fit in 6 weeks out from Mania.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. But I'm so thankful that I don't know.
Yeah.
Because
you feel like speculating?
I read something. I'll say this, and it's not my idea. Whoever said it on X, you can have the credit. I wonder if John Cena was saying that 2025 is the last you'll see of clean John Cena. And I wonder if he's gonna stick around. I think he'll win. I think it makes more sense for Cody to chase being the champion.
Yep.
I think John breaking the thing needs to happen. So I think it all works. But in terms of what we see after that, I'm not sure, because you're going to have Roman Reigns. we were, Roman Reigns somewhere in the mix, and I'm just talking about the main event title kind of picture in general. Punk's going to want a shot at it. Drew's never been done with it. Seth hasn't chased that title in a long time.
True.
Like, there's a lot of people in play, but how the story works together, man, I have no idea. Absolutely no idea.
There's another name that comes up every time at WrestleMania. Just so happens, though, this time, kind of like Dallas was where he started and ended, is that now WrestleMania this year is in Las Vegas. Just about 90 minutes where Stone Cold Steve Austin lives, who just had knee, hip, whatever. So he's a bionic man now. So he could possibly, I think it was his knees. I think he had both. I don't know if it's both, but I know at least one knee got replaced. Brand new knee. Is Stone Cold ready to come help Cody Rhodes? Because this is right up Stone Cold's alley. Going up against something like this?
Yep, sure is. That would be a cool tie-in, too.
It'd be kind of fun. I'd like to see that. I still think it's funny that Michael Cole was the only one that helped. I mean, everybody else was, I think Pat McAfee did help, although Pat McAfee had to stop and shake hands before he got in the ring to help Cody Rhodes get out. And I mean, if he did bust his eardrum, he would definitely need help getting out of the ring. Your equilibrium was so off by that. Let's talk about some more stuff. There's still, that's just one match of 2 nights. So a few things happened on Raw. Excited to, I absolutely loved. I felt like we went back in time a little bit with CM Punk. It was like a little tease of a pipe bomb standing on top of the desk, calling out whoever you want me to talk about. And of course, Pat says, The Rock. Okay, cool. You bald-headed fraud. Dwayne never says The Rock. I don't have to, paraphrasing, I don't have to make a fake championship to carry over my shoulder to tell everybody that I'm the people's champion. Just truth bomb for all of them. You said F you to all these kids, John Cena. And speaking of truth, we haven't seen him on TV, but if you're on X, you've read Truth's thoughts on John Cena turning heel. You watched any of that?
I've seen a few. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
He's very upset.
He's very upset.
I would like to see his take on all this and where he pops up. I know he was in the Rock provided dressing room last week for Cody Rhodes and ate the sushi and the shrimp and wanted to see if he gets some jelly roll in there for next time. I'm excited to see how Truth gets involved in some of this because it could use some levity, I know for sure.
Yeah.
What do you see happen with Punk for WrestleMania? Where does he end up in this whole thing?
I wish I had something to speculate on. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like, I'm still in a good way hungover from Saturday night. Mm-hmm. I'm so in awe of just the light switch that we saw in John Cena. And I haven't had time, honestly, in the limited time that I have to process wrestling things. I don't know. And it goes back to what I said a minute ago. Like, you have all these guys in play, but they're obviously connecting Punk to The Rock and calling him out. So how all that works, I don't know. But what I can tell you is it feels good to have CM Punk on TV every week. His really promos are incredible, and putting him in this position is how we fell in love with him in the first place. Is him going against a authoritative regime. That's exactly where we want him to be. So it's perfect.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that he and Seth are going against each other next Monday because that's at Madison Square Garden, and doing that inside of a steel cage. I wonder if a steel cage is just not a precursor to a Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania with he and Seth. If you that's how you really keep somebody in or keeping people out. Although neither one of them have a crew. There's not somebody coming to save the day. But if it's those two, would you be mad seeing them again at WrestleMania this year?
I don't think so. I think if it was, I think if we build it the right way. Yeah. I can't remember. Did they have 1 or 2 matches before? I think
they did Raw on the very first Raw on Netflix.
Right.
And CM Punk won that.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that.
I think that was it.
Unless I'm forgetting about another match, that would make the rubber match at Mania. Because
you're right. For some reason, I feel like there was one before, and I'm just not remembering it either. But
either way,
you guys can chime in here. Yeah.
If we see it again at Mania, I don't think you can ever turn that down. I think they'll just have to be careful to not let it go stale between now and then, since it's already something that's been cooked a little bit.
We've got a brand new women's world champion. Io Sky beat Rhea Ripley. I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming. I was like, why are they talking about Bianca Belair? Congratulations to her winning Elimination Chamber. Why are they talking about she's going to face one of these two? Of course, it's going to be Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Clearly not Rhea Ripley. Do you see this being, though, turned into a three-way?
I think possibly. I don't quite understand the booking of it. So hear me. I actually really like Io Sky. I always have. She's great wrestler. I think her aura overall is really cool. Her entrance is like amazingly simple to me.
And the music's amazing. That's my favorite music intro.
Yeah. And so I have no problem with her. I have no problem with Bianca, but I don't understand that booking out of nowhere.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think when women's wrestling is more criticized than men's wrestling, when a lot of times it can be the same quality, I think it's interesting to mix things up that way and cause momentum to be lost in a story. So I'm not sure where they're going with it, but I feel at the moment that decision hurt only from a story perspective, not from a performer perspective.
Yeah.
But I guess I just need to wait and see kind of what shakes out.
Yeah. And the other women's title, you've got Tiffany Stratton going up against Charlotte. I think if there is a predictable match in this, it's that Charlotte's taking home this title. I feel that for whatever reason, and maybe the chase of the title with having the briefcase for the Money in the Bank for Tiffany and her actually getting it was the excitement. But I feel like something's dropped off with Tiffany. Now, you know my feelings on Charlotte. I think the consensus across a lot of WWE fans, or maybe quote unquote smart marks, love Charlotte Flair. Think she is absolutely the best. Do I think she and Becky are great for each other? 100%. I love the tension. I love the bouts they've had in the past, and I think they're better with each other. I think that Charlotte by herself, just standing on her own, I won't get into it again. She's not my favorite. Yeah. But the whole point is that I think you get that back on Charlotte to then bring back Becky, to bring back the feud that we actually do care about.
I like that. I like long term. It's just going to hurt in the meantime, and maybe that's the point.
Well, I kind of thought that we talked about last week or the week before. We talked about that maybe Jay and Gunther have match number one of night number one or night number two. Maybe that's the first match of the other night. Is giving that first placement to Charlotte and Tiffy. Tiffy time starts off the show. That might be kind of cool, and it could. I mean, it could be possible just to have this be a squash match too. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, I think. I definitely don't want to hurt Tiffany's booking or hurt her status. There's been other squash matches that we've seen, for instance, Goldberg, Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston. A lot of these title squash matches over the last decade-ish or so have not really fared well. And so I don't mind squash. You just got to be careful with it. And
I think of Daniel Bryan and Sheamus.
Yeah, but I think that one worked because Daniel Bryan was like mega heel at that point.
Big time.
Mega super heel.
And he was distracted.
Yeah.
By CM Punk's wife.
So, and because he had been playing the dirty, slimy, greasy heel anyway. So I like that one, which is why I didn't mention it. But I feel like that's a small oasis in a bigger pool of things that didn't work.
But if I'm not mistaken, that was at the beginning of a show too.
It was. Yep.
Yeah, right at the beginning of WrestleMania that year. Anything else that we missed? I know that it's been talked to death about Rock and and John Cena, Cena's turn, what happens next. I mean, I will say that March 17th is what I keep reading as the next time we'll see John Cena. And I don't think you see John Cena right now without The Rock.
Probably. I would say they're probably intertwined. The only thing that I guess what I hope to see, last thoughts, without talking it to death, is I really hope they lean into John almost being subservient to Rock, and Rock being this almost like Greek god that has this like a warrior figure, you know, and almost see like this, not fully there, but this toward the direction of like a hypnotized John Cena. That's because, you know, if you think back, and I promise I'm going to wrap it up. If you think back to Chris Jericho, around late 2000s, he cut his hair, went to a suit, had this and he was world heavyweight champion, and he had this very like polished kind of dirty champion gimmick. I don't think that's going to work for this. I think John Cena still has to be John Cena, but I think he just has to be like, The Rock's my boss and I'm going to do whatever the boss says.
I think you're right too, and it's been talked about too, but we didn't dive into it too much. But I do think you're right about it not being like, yes, it's the end of the old John Cena in 2025, that retirement tour. But I think now, I don't think there are any rules to John Cena. Mm-hmm. I don't think that 2025 is it now either. After this, unless something happens crazy, he turns back face before the end and wraps up a nice, pretty Christmas package for us before he heads out of 2025. I don't see that. I see him running this as long as he cares to. Yeah,
I think he's got an end date in mind. And to be honest with you, with everything we've seen, I think we're at 41 or 42. 42.
Mania? No, 41.
We're at 41. So I think 42 is where he'll wrap it up. I think he'll wrap it up in New Orleans. It doesn't make any sense for somebody like Cena to go out not at Mania. You're going to go out on a December. You're going to go out in a December pay-per-view. Yeah. When WrestleMania season or Rumble doesn't happen until January. It never made sense to me from the start, but I was going to wait and see. I think he told people the end of 2025 he'll do something toward the end of the year that solidifies a feud that'll go through the first couple months, and he'll ride off into the sunset at Mania in New Orleans.
There's never been a more fun time to be a wrestling fan in the last 15, 20 years, and we're in the middle of it right now. Let's enjoy it. If you're watching right now on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Like this video, share it with a friend. Things that are easy. I mean, you got another wrestling fan, you got to see what these two buffoons are talking about. They're you don't agree with anything? Great, share it. Tell them, comment how big of idiots we are. Whatever you do, just comment, because the interaction's awesome and it actually helps it. So if you want to call him a bald-headed fraud, go for it. Just subscribe too. We appreciate that so much. Michael, it's good to talk to you about wrestling. Anytime we can hang and talk about it, it's always fun.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time here on the WrestleChat Podcast.